What's happening, people? It's your girl Minna. Welcome back to the channel. You already know what it is. Big up to everyone locked in on this wonderfully unusual Wednesday afternoon. Be sure to hit the like button, guys, and be sure to subscribe if you are new here. If you want to join the Minions gang, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course, you get to support, not support. You get to support the growth of the channel, the ever-growing channel. It's the road to 7K here. So if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. If you want to check me out on other platforms, as I mentioned yesterday, I stream now on that other platform, you know, the one for gaming. Yeah, I stream over there in the evenings after this normal daily dose of Minna. So check that out and be sure to subscribe to my second channel, which is my gaming channel for all gaming content. But you don't know what it is. Like I said, be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. Let me know before we kind of get into it. And like I said, today we got a little bit to talk about. It might not be a lot, but we got a little bit to talk about. In particular, we're going to talk finance. We are going to talk finance, and we are going to make sense of Manchester United's financial year-end results that were published today. What does it mean for Manchester United from a PSR perspective? Where are the increases? Where are the decreases? Where are Manchester United trying to save money, etc., etc.? All I'm saying, it's not looking good. It's not looking good, guys. And it kind of explains how Manchester United's financial the window went for them financially and why they were really clutching onto their purses, because the financial position for year end does not look good. So we're going to talk about that, but also we're going to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo's recent interview that he did with 5UK, which is a platform owned by Rio Ferdinand, where he talks about Manchester United. You know, he did there was a part that got released yesterday where he spoke about, you know, how he still loves Manchester United, etc. And today he went into a bit more detail in this interview where he spoke about Eric Ten Hag and what Eric Ten Hag should do to survive life at Manchester United. He praised the current or the new system at Manchester United, the new, I'll say, part owners, in terms of them coming in and trying to change everything and get some structure in the facilities, etc. But he did kind of blast shots. I don't want to say it, but he did kind of criticize and make some remarks regarding the manager, Eric Ten Hag, and some of the comments that Eric Ten Hag said about Manchester United not being able to compete, not being in a place to compete, etc., etc. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Angel Gomez, because you lot know I've been talking about him of recent. And yesterday he absolutely balled out for England, man. Make Lee Carlisle the permanent manager of England if he's going to keep calling up these kind of players, because Angel Gomez has deserved this chance, and his contract finishes in the summer. Bring him home. Bring him home. He didn't really get a chance at United per se, and I think he deserves a fair shot. I would like to see him, you know, what United are lacking in that technical side in the middle of the game, in the middle of the pitch. He could do well. I know people are going to go on and say, but he's so petite, he's so short, he's this, he's that. If he can play in England's system, he can play in Man United's system. I'm just saying. But we're going to talk a little bit about that. Big up to everyone in the comment section. Like I said, make sure you lot get involved. Listen, it's international break, and right now we are clutching at straws, trying to find things to talk about. We are just about getting by. The fact that I've done 2 streams back-to-back days to talk about Manchester United, that says a lot, because the news is not newsing right now. So make sure you lot hit the like button and get involved in the comments section below. And if you lot want me to do kind of a separate video about understanding the finances and understanding what Manchester United's financial results mean for them from a PSR perspective, let me know, and I can kind of look into that and put that together. But make sure you lot also follow me on all platforms. Here you see the socials right there. But let's get into it. Should we start with what Ronaldo said? Should we? I know a lot of people, by the way, don't want to hear what Ronaldo has to say since leaving Manchester United, but I actually think he made some very valid points. When he was speaking about stuff, and in particular, it is what the manager has said, and I know that people don't want to hear it coming from Cristiano Ronaldo, given everything that happened between the manager and Cristiano Ronaldo, right? But what I think he says is actually some valid stuff. And we've touched upon it here on the channel about having this loser mentality. You got the manager coming out saying that United are still a couple years away from competing, but I've always said you don't have to compete, but you have to be willing to try and compete. And then when the manager has come out and said that, The captain has come out and said that. The captain has come out and said that, and said Man United are still a bit away from competing for titles. That's loser mentality. Lil Yo-Yo, just quickly, you are a madman. I watched back the Reckless Roundtable. I was watching it this morning. You are a madman. That's all I have to say. But big up. When Ten Hag is confident, the media flames him, and when he's honest, he gets flamed. That is one way to look at it. That is definitely one way to look at it. I think with Eric Ten Hag, unfortunately, when it comes to the media, I think he cannot win. I think he cannot win. I think everything he does is under a magnifying glass. Everything he's under more scrutiny, regardless of the outcome of the situation. It's like he's damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't. And at what point do you think, oh, you know what? Cut the manager some slack. I don't understand, by the way, guys. Let's actually talk about Eric Ten Hag quickly before we get into this Cristiano Ronaldo stuff. I really want to know, why is it Eric Ten Hag is subjected to so much criticism from the English media in comparison to other managers? Like, it doesn't matter what he does, and I see it. Even as someone, I sit here and question Eric Ten Hag's tactics, right? But the manner in which he gets criticized by the English media is crazy. I don't think I've ever seen it like this. I never saw it like this for Oli. I don't think I saw it like this for Jose. I don't think I saw it like this for Louis van Gaal. Maybe it's the way that he speaks that doesn't help, like his mannerisms when he speaks, because Van Gaal was a very good speaker. Jose was a good speaker, as entertaining as possible, but he was still a good speaker. Oli was a very good speaker. So I don't know what it is, because 2 games in his first season at Manchester United, there was a witch hunt for Eric Ten Hag. Sky Sports have never sent 2 people out to go and interview a manager off the back of 2 losses and interrogate him in the manner that they did. And we can even talk about the example of, you know, like going back a couple of days and talking about the what's it called, the what's it called game that he played. Damn, it's gone out of my head. But you don't know the charity match that he did for FC Utrecht. He didn't even lose, but the media ran with it. The media really ran with it. I don't think I saw a media outlet. And obviously, when I say media outlets, guys, let's testimonial. There you go. Literally, they lied about it. They literally lied about the result for the testimonial. I don't care, by the way, about a testimonial. I don't care about a testimonial. I don't. If it was for United, if it's for United, I'd care more. But FC Utrecht, do your thing, bro. Do your thing. But the fact that one media outlet said that he lost 2-1 and every English media outlet ran with it just shows that they don't do their due diligence. Like, I've worked in sports media, guys. When you're coming with a fact, it gets checked by your editors before it even goes out. Like, when I've written articles for people like The Athletic, etc., before it goes out, you have to provide your source to make sure that the fact is correct. And the editor then goes and checks it. And checks the entire article. But the fact that I've seen so many outlets, TNT, etc., just casually putting out lies, like, so you can say what you want about the manager tactically, right? You can have your criticisms about the manager, but when it's getting kind of personal and you are literally targeting them for any given opportunity, I think you have to call it out. I think we have to call it out. And for me, that's the most important thing. Like, someone will come here now and say, but Minna, you criticize the manager. I do. I criticize the manager's tactics. I don't ride on this bandwagon. I don't jump on the bandwagon of just hating him, and then making up shit. Like, for me, it doesn't make sense. Personally, it don't make sense. Media going in on De Ligt as well. I saw the Dutch media ripping into him. I don't know what happened. So if anyone can fill me in, let me know, because I saw very briefly he had a bit of a howler for the Netherlands, and then I saw the Dutch media ripping into him. I think it's because Oli was actually well liked. Gary Neville and Co never seemed to be too fond of him too. I hear it. Yeah, I feel like that too. I do feel like that. I don't even rate Ten Hag that much, but I agree with you. They go after him way more than other managers. The thing is, right? I'm not saying other managers deserve what Ten Hag is getting, but even out the playing field a little bit. You know, don't make it so obvious that you are targeting him. Because I've seen, like, by the way, I don't know if you guys watch Beanie Man Sports, right? Because Beanie Man Sports always posts press conferences of all the games. But every manager you can think of, they always post press conferences. And you can, like, I've had my fair share of experience in a press conference. I have friends who are in football and go to regular press conferences to a point where, because they're journalists and that they have a relationship with the manager and know the manager, etc. I think the relationship between the media, the match day media for Manchester United and the manager, I think it's a broken relationship, or it's coming to a point where it's broken. Because if you've got journalists calling you out in the middle of a press conference saying XYZ, oh, like, this is the problems that you are having. Why is this what you're having? Like, from time we're seeing that, yeah, for me it shows that there's a strained relationship between the media. And when I say the media, I'm not talking about like the generic social media posts. I'm talking about the match day going media people that cover Manchester United. I feel like there's a strained relationship between them and the manager. And this can go back all the way to, what was it last season when people were getting banned from doing interviews and coming to press conferences, etc. Maybe it's since then. But I can tell from when I watch the press conferences and I hear the manner in which people are asking Ten Hag questions, and I can see he's not really warm to those kind of questions. You can just tell straight away it's a strained kind of relationship. But for me, when it comes to mainstream media, that does not excuse them to kind of make him into a target. That's just my opinion anyway. But listen, let's get into it. Let's talk about Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo doing an interview. If it wasn't for copyright, guys, I would pull up the interview right now and we could watch it together. I can only do that stuff on like Twitch because YouTube will slap me with a copyright. Rio Ferdinand, he gotta make his coins. But Cristiano Ronaldo did an interview with 5UK talking a lot about Manchester United. And of course he's going to talk about Man United. By the way, guys, I don't know if you lot have seen. We're talking about strained relationships, right? We're talking about strained relationships. Before I get into what he said about Manchester United and Erik Ten Hag, have you seen what he said about Benzema? Well, or not what he said about Benzema. What is more so what he didn't say. I think he was doing like, when you name two players and then you pick, and then I think it was Mbappe or Benzema, and then he said Mbappe, and then Benzema obviously seen it and went on Instagram and just posted a picture of his Ballon d'Or on his story. I don't know what has gone wrong with their relationship, but their relationship looks like it's been strained. Probably since, I would say, I don't know. It's weird because when I saw Gareth Bale at a Champions League event just before this year's Champions League, and he was talking about, the players that he's played with, blah, blah, blah. And obviously one of the questions that was asked to him from the audience was, who's the best person you've played with? And he mentioned Cristiano. So clearly Bale and Ronaldo still got a relationship. But Ronaldo, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't take it, if I was Benzema, I wouldn't take it personal if he picked Mbappe over me, but I don't know the history between Mbappe and Benzema and the French national team and all of that kind of stuff. But anyways, let's get into this because Cristiano Ronaldo said some very interesting stuff. Let's start with what he said about Erik Ten Hag and Ruud van Nistelrooy's relationship, right? He said, if Erik Ten Hag listens to Ruud van Nistelrooy, maybe he can help. He then went on to say, he knows the club and the club should listen to the guys who have been there. Excuse me, Rio, Roy, Scholes, Neville, Sir Alex Ferguson. You cannot rebuild a club without that knowledge. He then went on to talk about, obviously, if you lot don't remember, him and Ruud played together in the early parts of his United career. He went on to say, I believe Ruud van Nistelrooy is going to help because he was there inside the club once. He knows the club and he knows the fans. And if Ten Hag, he didn't even mention him. He said, if the coach listens to him, I think they will improve a little bit. Now, I don't know if he's putting a lot of pressure on Ruud's shoulders to say that Ruud van Nistelrooy has answers to the problems that United have right now. And Show says it here, Ronaldo only knows Ruud as a player, not as a coach. So that statement is already void. I think it's similar to, this is the thing, right? Because I've had this conversation with lots of people about if Ten Hag gets sacked. And I know a lot of people want Ruud van Nistelrooy to be the next in charge. I would have Ruud as an interim, right? But my worry about having a former player turned manager sit in the dugout, it's going to be like Ollie, where it's going to get sentimental. Even if it's difficult times, things are going to get sentimental, and people will hesitate to criticize. We will see a media kind of the opposite of what's happening with Ten Hag right now, with Rio, Gary Neville, all of them guys will be doing the most in the media. Now, I think Cristiano Ronaldo, it's interesting that he mentioned this, because he also went on to talk about, you know, the new owners, and all of that stuff. He went on to say, you know, talk about how he still loves Manchester United and that. But I don't know if you guys have seen this, and this is why can't Man United just have a normal day on social media? Why can they not have a normal day on social media? Fabrizio posted this on his Instagram, and then Garnacho liked it and then unliked it. Shout out to whoever. Listen, Man United fans, detectives. Because the fact that there's people out there that go and look at likes of posts to see if a United player has liked the post. Now, Garnacho has obviously, apparently, unliked it in that process. But please, can we just have one normal day or one normal week of Man United social media stuff? What he means is that Ruud knows what is at stake to be at United and Ten Hag doesn't. So you're saying that Ruud Van Nistelrooy knows, I guess, he values what it means to be in the dugout, because he's once was on the bench as a player. Because it's true. I agree with that part, that when you have an attachment to a club, I think you will look at it different. Like, I feel like if I was a manager and I had no attachment to Manchester United, bar the fact that I coach Manchester United and I'm the manager of Manchester United, I would just look at it as another job, right? I wouldn't be heavily invested emotionally with it. Whereas I agree, a former player, especially a former player that's won stuff with Manchester United, and seeing where it's been the last 10 or so years, they might look at it and from an emotional side, because they've already got the attachment to the club. They want it to improve and get better and be back to the level that it was once at, when, you know, you were a player. I get that part. But then I look at the sentiment side. Football, there's no space for sentiment in football, guys. In my opinion, anyways. You lot might not agree with me, but there's no room for sentiment in football. We complain sometimes that the players are too attached. Then we try to detach, and people are saying, oh, we're not ruthless enough. Then we try to be ruthless. Then we're saying, oh, you know, you don't respect the player or what they've done for the club. There's no space for sentiment in football, and definitely not in a rebuild. Definitely not in a rebuild. For me, in a rebuild, and I'm speaking as if Erik Ten Hag is not the manager right now, but in a rebuild, if Man United have to appoint a new manager, they need to appoint a manager that's going to win trophies. That is, for me, what that is the clear kind of perception that I have, in my opinion. And you lot might disagree with me on that. Ruud was let go because of Ronaldo. So Alex Ferguson was protecting Ronaldo because he felt Ruud was bullying the young Ronaldo. Was that the case that he was? I thought Ruud was let go for disrespecting, for disrespect or something like that. All the fans that say that they are the Ollie bandwagon. We have the same tribal issues. I don't want to see an ex-player managing this club ever again on a permanent basis. If a player does become an ex-player becomes the manager of Manchester United, do you guys feel like it becomes harder to criticize because it is difficult to differentiate the player, the legendary player, to the coach that's now sitting in the dugout. And Goals for George says it here. Ruud was shrinking in his seat more and more during the defeat by Liverpool. I've never seen, I was at the Liverpool game, and I remember where I was sitting in the Sir Alex Ferguson stand, which is directly opposite where the dugout is. And it was like the 70th minute, and I'm just looking up to see, okay, let me see if the manager's giving instructions or anything. Manager's sitting in his seat. Manager is sitting in his seat. On the other side, Arne Slot is standing there, 3-0, giving out instructions from the touchline. Ronaldo is spot on. He's talking about having the right mentality. The manager spent $500 million, and before season even started, he's coming out saying we are not ready to compete. That's weak. Let's get to that, because I definitely want to hear you lot's thoughts on his comments about that. Ronaldo went on, and by the way, guys, you lot know where I stand on this, but I'm going to share my opinion. So obviously, I want to hear what you lot think as well. Ronaldo went on to speak more in depth about Manchester United and Erik Ten Hag and said, Manchester United, in my opinion, they need to rebuild everything. The coach, by the way, he always says the coach. He never says the manager's name. He always kept saying the coach. He says the coach says they cannot compete to win the league or the Champions League. And as the Manchester United coach, you cannot say that you're not going to fight for the league or the Champions League. You need to have the right mentality. Even if we do not have the potential, you have to go and try. You have to try. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually agree. And I said this, guys, I think I said this during the summer transfer window, that even though the summer transfer window is still going on, I said it's ridiculous that the manager has come out and already said that we cannot compete. Because for me, I know Man United can't compete. I think everybody here is under the impression that probably Manchester United are not at a level yet to compete for the league. But do you think it kind of X's you out of the equation just by coming out immediately and saying, we're not going to compete? Or you could look at it on the flip side, and I can be devil's advocate and say, well, the manager's managing expectations. By coming out and saying that in July, you're saying that you're still in that process of building your team. So this year you might not be able to do that. And Bruno Fernandes came out and kind of doubled down on that recently and said, yeah, we're not in a place to compete for the league. I appreciate the honesty. Because it's a feeling that I know as well. But is that what it is? Is that what it is to be Manchester United? Quotation mark. Like, is that what it is to be Manchester United? To go out and say immediately from the jump, we're not there yet. And that is what that's going into year 3 of your project, right? I hate the term projects, by the way. Let me know your thoughts. Big up to Nuruddin with the super chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. It says the same Ronaldo that has issues with Ten Hag. Surely, sure, I'll believe he says these from a place of good. I you know what? I think he is saying some parts from a place of good, but I think the pettiness is still there when he's not referring to the manager by his name and he keeps saying the coach. I mean, yesterday in a part of the interview, he spoke in depth about kind of Manchester United and how much he still loves the club and how he still watches games, etc. So I still believe that he's got that emotional attachment to Manchester United. But the fact that he's like in this thing, guys, he has not once said Erik Ten Hag. When he speaks about former managers of his, he always says this manager, Sir Alex, blah blah. This guy, he just keeps saying the coach, which is kind of obvious who he's referring to. It's pretty obvious. Let me see what you lot are saying in the chat. It's hard to criticize Erik Ten Hag, and he hasn't won a league or a Champions League. Damn. Give Erik another 200 million next season and he'll say the same thing again. I mean, Muppeteers was reporting that Manchester United and Erik Ten Hag couldn't agree on a new contract this summer because there was some terms terms within the contract that they couldn't agree on, which is why I said this from when they announced that he was staying as manager. It was not a new contract. It was just the 1 year triggered in his contract. And by the way, guys, when we get to talking about the finances side, you lot are going to understand why Manchester United didn't get rid of Erik Ten Hag, because they could not afford it, guys. They could not afford it. And we're going to talk about that in a bit more depth. So I can kind of break it down for you guys as Manchester United announced their financial year results today. The thing is, if you told Man United fans in June 2022 that in the 3rd season we'd be competing for top 4 and still not top 4 certified, we would have said Erik is doing a horrible job. Do you guys actually think Man United, where do you think Man United are in their rebuild? I hate the term rebuild. I hate the term project, sorry, all of that stuff. I hate that. But going into the 3rd year, where did you expect Manchester United to be? That is the question. Where did you expect Manchester United to be? Ronaldo wasn't wrong unless you don't understand the context. A coach and captain coming out saying we cannot win the league is not the right mentality. I think, you know what? I agree. I totally agree. Like, I agree with this part. But I'm also thinking, is it to soften the blow? I.e. manage the expectations. I can't lie. I never came in this season expecting to compete for the title. I never came into the season expecting to compete for the title. But it hurts more with the manager saying it and the captain saying it, because I'm like, okay, well, when are we going to do that? When are we going to do that? It's the 3rd year of this project, of this rebuild that United are under. when are we going to be a bit more competitive in the league where we're not just participating and we're not just there for numbers and just to take part? Let me see what you lot are saying. A lot of you lot are agreeing, by the way. A lot of you guys are agreeing. They would have, if you also didn't tell them we had the worst injury crisis in our history, the Sancho situation, Rashford problems, and the club sell. I mean, some of the stuff about the club sell, guys, financially, the Glazers have F'd Manchester United up, right? And we're going to get to it when we talk about the finances, because I think because of the Glazers, Ineos could not afford to get rid of Erik Ten Hag this summer. That is genuinely the theory that I have. Challenging or third at least, top 4 at least. The thing is, quite a lot is not guaranteed as well. That's the most difficult thing. Title challenge or top 3 minimum by the end of season 3. Why not? But obviously, I didn't predict that after last season. Yeah, I think after last season, everybody's predictions kind of took a back burner. Because if you had asked me my predictions off the back of Man United's first season under Erik Ten Hag, wow, I said that Man United had to be in and around top 3. And I said that they have to have a semi-final run in the Champions League. Life humbled me. Life truly, truly humbled me. We haven't progressed at all since 2018. If we sack Ten Hag and hire Ruud as an interim, we're back where we were when we sacked Jose and hired Oli as interim. You know, when you put it like that, that's crazy. When you actually put it into perspective like that, which is why I think a lot of fans are just adamant to see out this 2-year period under Erik Ten Hag. Because it's either going to get better or you're going to end up at square one where you were 2018 or whenever it was when Oli came in. Convinced Ruud van Nistelrooy was brought in solely to take over when they sacked Erik Ten Hag. It was a strategic move. Managing Man United is far above Erik's pay grade. I really wonder if Erik Ten Hag will win back most of the fans. You can't, in a right state of mind, think we're a top club when we have top nothing. Finances, facilities, players, form, trophy. We don't have the bare minimum instability. That's the thing. Ineos have been tasked with a big job, right? Ineos have been tasked with a big job coming into Manchester United. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe said it himself about the rebuild and how it's going to take at least a couple of years before Manchester United compete for a title. So do you think that, again, this is just me being devil's advocate, if Sir Jim feels like it's going to take a couple of years for Man United to compete for a title, does that buy Erik Ten Hag some more time? You lot are going in on, what's it called? You lot are talking about Villa. 2-year period, he shouldn't be here by November. Damn. We can't be back to Jose days because of the structure of Ineos. That is a big thing. That is a big, big part as well. The structure is a big, big part. The people running the club are far more competent than who was running the club when Ole was interim. I agree with that. Let's actually quickly talk about the finances, right? We've given this quite some time. Let's quickly talk about the finances. Now, if you guys do not know, Manchester United announced their financial results today for the financial year end 24. Big shock. Well, not really a big shock. It's not a big shock. Manchester United made a loss again. So that's 3 years in a row that Manchester United have made a loss. However, the loss is a lot more significant this year than it has been in previous years. Now, just for PSR purposes, right? And guys, sit down, get your notebooks, get your pens, get your pads, get your glasses on. This is going to be a little finance session. From a PSR perspective, 3 years, you're allowed your PSR looks at 3-year periods, right? And you're allowed a total loss of 105 million in those 3 years combined, right? Now, a lot of clubs, Manchester United including, were able to benefit from the pandemic, right? You lot are probably thinking, how do you benefit from the pandemic? But during the pandemic, there was a 40 million, I think, COVID write-off that they could have, 40 million COVID allowance in the 21-22 football year. Now, as a result, because of that, from those 3 years onwards, Manchester United didn't find themselves in a sticky PSR position. However, this year, I definitely think Manchester United are going to be in a big, big problem. Now, Manchester United issued a statement today. Ahmad Barada made a statement as well. And Manchester United insists that they will comply within the PSR limits of the 105 million losses over 3 years, but they will have to make significant exemptions. And I'm putting this on the Glazers. And you lot are probably thinking, how? Why the hell are you putting this on the Blazers? So 105 million is the loss amount that Manchester United are allowed to make from a PSR perspective across 3 years. Across 3 years, Manchester United have made a 257 million pound loss. More than 30% of that coming this year. Now, just for some context, in June 2023, in June 2023, Everton reported a 3-year loss PSR of a total of 257 million. And what happened to them? Points deduction. Points deductions happened to them. Now, where is this happening? Where is Manchester United making money? Where are they having a lot of costs or expenses, etc., for this particular financial year? Number one, increase in revenue. Not significant, but still an increase in revenue. Number two, a huge jump in wages of 10% from the previous year. Interest, which comes from obviously the loans under the Glazers, and borrowings are down. Now, borrowings being down is a positive, because if you lot remember when Sir Jim Ratcliffe came in and took over Manchester United, he injected cash to pay off some of the debt. Didn't clear all of it, but it cleared a little bit. It put a little dent in a big problem, right? And now the borrowings now stand at 546 million. Now, these borrowings relate to Manchester United as a football club, but a lot of it relate to what the Glazers used to buy Manchester United back in 2005. Now, the reason why I say that this huge loss is attributed to the Glazers is because they have a one-off cost in the financial accounts this year of 48 million pounds. And what is that one-off cost? It relates, and I can't believe this, but I knew it. I knew this was going to happen because of another reason. So this 48 million of a one-off cost that they have booked into their financial accounts this year relates to what the Glazers have charged for issuing the new shares, to the club when Ineos took over. So essentially, it's the sale. It's that 20-something percentage that they sold to Sir Jim Ratcliffe that is the issuing of those shares. 48 million pounds that could not come out of the money that they were making from selling the club for over $1.5 billion. Do you know how ridiculous that is? Now, obviously, from a business perspective, I get it. If I put my business hat on, I get it, because not only that, they even charged, I think it was like 20 million of consulting and legal fees and all of that to Manchester United, because Man United is a PLC. They charged all of that. So essentially, the whole process of selling that 25 or 24 or 26% share to Sir Jim Ratcliffe cost Manchester United in their financial accounts roughly nearly 70 million. That is a lot of money. Now, if Manchester United, and this is, I don't want to say it, but if Manchester United do struggle to be within the PSR threshold, I don't know what the implications can be, but this is a question to you guys. Now that you know it, and you see other clubs who have been penalised, we've seen Forest, we've seen Everton. Everton probably have bared the brunt of a lot of the PSR regulations. What do you think it means for Manchester United? Are they going to be able to find significant loopholes to avoid any sort of points deductions or fines, etc.? Or do you think that they will? This is just a little mishap. We signed a PSR expert today. Ineos are ready. Nothing to worry about. Yeah, just some context on that. Manchester United have it's not signed, but Manchester United will have a new employee. I don't know what his name is. I need to double check, but he's going to be coming in as the chief revenue officer, and he has, I will say, exemplary experience, not just in football, because he's coming from PSG, but in sports. He's worked for the NBA, he's worked for the NFL, he's worked at PSG, and obviously now he will come to Manchester United. But I don't think he will be the answer to whatever PSR issue Manchester United could possibly face, because it's just that is an accounting thing. And I understand why PSR exists. It exists for it exists for teams to be on a level playing field financially. and from an accounting perspective. But for me, I can't, and this is why I've said that because of this, and if you guys, I can bring streams where I said that Man United might not be able to afford to get rid of Eric Ten Hag. I said it would cost Manchester United more to get rid of Eric Ten Hag than they probably would like. And for a new structure that's come in to improve the financial position of the club, they have to cut costs somewhere and probably have to kind of swallow the L. And that might have been the situation with Eric Ten Hag. If they got rid of him, I think it was going to be 14 million per year. I think it was going to be 14 million per a year to pay him off, essentially. So I'm looking at this and thinking, wow, Man United finishing with a, let me double check, 113 million loss for the financial year might have been the number that saved Eric Ten Hag his job. People saying the FA Cup saved his job, this, that, Thomas Tuchel, Lardit. But what if it was actually the financial position of Manchester United that kept him his job for just a little bit longer? Just for a little bit longer. Now, for salary, Manchester United's salaries, and this is interesting to me, Manchester United salaries have increased quite a bit. Now, against their turnover or their revenue, Manchester United's wages is 55% of the revenue that they make. Of course, you're going to make a loss. Of course, Manchester United is going to make a loss when your salaries and the wages that you pay, it says it here, 2023. I know you're probably reading up here where it says 2022, 23, but this is Manchester United. And the rest is in comparison to the previous season. It's 79% of your revenue going to wages is mad. It is mad. And then you look at other clubs. Aston Villa, 89%. Leicester, this was obviously why they were in a bit of a predicament with the FA. But you look at this, and a team like Aston Villa, that is a big wage to have, a big wage bill to have, given the fact that they're probably not making as much revenue clearly as other clubs are. Manchester City have a nearly 400 and something million. So let me not look at other clubs. Let me just look at Manchester United. But I can say that this makes sense as to why Manchester United have been adamant to reduce the wage bill. They've been adamant to do that because if you're looking ahead to the next financial year, if we're looking ahead to the next financial year, and we're already in it, by the way, so across 3 years, I think Manchester United's smallest loss that they made was 3 years ago. So that's the first year in the PSR regulations. So next year, and this is why I've been kind of banging the drum about it throughout the summer, about Manchester United improving their PSR position during the transfer window. Now, Manchester United have to ensure in this financial year, the new financial year, they have to ensure that they do not report a huge loss because they've already got a significant amount booked in PSR for 2 years of nearly 200 and something million. So they have to try and reduce that difference or that negative difference, especially now that they've lost that little buffer of, I think it was like a 20 million loss that they had in the first year of PSR. And then from then onwards, they were reporting 100 million, etc., etc. So this year, looking at, if we kind of look at it in hindsight and we look back at how Manchester United have been operating in the summer transfer window, reduced transfers in terms of payment plans. We've been Klarna. We've been doing Klarna stuff, guys. We've been doing buy now, pay later settings, right? We triggered Joshua Zirkzee's release clause, but then we turned around and said, actually, no, let's not trigger it. We will pay more than what his release clause is if you let us pay over 3 years. And they accepted it. They were adamant to get rid of players. They were adamant to get rid of certain players, Raphael Varane, Anthony Martial. They looked to find options for Casemiro, one of the higher earners. They have been trying to get the higher earners off the books. Now, of course, you can flip it and look at them giving Bruno Fernandes an increase, a pay increase that takes him to nearly, I think it's like 350 a week. But Manchester United have been clearly kind of taking the steps to reduce their wage bill for this new financial year, because they know in that financial year it's going to heavily impact the PSR position for the 3-year kind of bracket that they get to work in. And that's why it's been very important for Manchester United to bring in the right people, bringing in, Dan Ashworth, bringing in Umar Barada, people who, clearly Umar Barada he's got experience from City, not that I'm saying that they're cooking the books, but he's got experience from Manchester City. Dan Ashworth, people that know their roles, essentially. That's the most important thing, that they know what they're doing. That's key. Ineos shouldn't have brought the club and left it to someone buying it outright. That's his own fault. Do you guys agree with that? Do you think that Ineos should have brought the club outright? I mean, they paid more than market value for 25%. And I don't know if it's true, because I remember when Sir Jim Ratcliffe brought the club, there was rumors about that they would have a certain period to sell in, and etc. etc. I don't know about that, and if that's been verified, but I don't know if he could have afforded to buy it. That's the question. Now I know you lot are gonna say he could afford to buy the world. He's rich. He's this. He's that. But I don't think the Glazers wanted. In my opinion, I am convinced the Glazers never intended to fully sell. I think they wanted the financial kind of benefits of being in the club, i.e. being an owner, but without the responsibility of having to run the club. Like a silent business owner. That's, I think, what they wanted. And whether he's going to turn around and buy them outright 1 or 2 years down the line, maybe. But I just think, if we go back and read that statement that they put out, when was that now? Nearly 2 years ago. The statement that they put out when they said that they were looking to sell or have investment in the club. For me, if you were looking to sell, you would have just been looking to sell. That's it. And if you were looking to sell, in my opinion, you would have taken the more favorable option, which would have been, Qatar and Sheikh Jassim. That would have been the more favorable one if you're looking to just sell outright, because you're getting money up front or cash. Yeah, it would that for me made sense if you want to get just leave the club and just part ways. But if you still want to kind of have your finger in the pie, you still want to have some of the pie, but you don't want to have to cook it. This was the better option for them, and that's what they took. I'm still convinced that they never kind of intended to sell. All this is great, but not making top 4 again this season will only hurt financials again next year. I think missing out on Champions League football will be a big issue for Manchester United. Not just financially. I think financially is a big part, but even when it comes to recruitment, because 2 years in a row recruiting for Europa League is not easy. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be convincing. You're not going to get the best talent. If you want the best talent in the world, and especially with the players that could be available on the market next summer, if you want the best of the best, you have to be competing with the best of the best. And there's only so much that you can sell Europa League to people. For example, obviously, if you lot remember the story yesterday coming out about Casemiro, and how Casemiro never signed up for trying to qualify for Champions League football 2 years out of the 3 years that he's been at Manchester United. Players are going to feel like, okay, what have I been sold coming in to the club, and what is the actual reality of it? What's the real situation? And if Manchester United fail to get top 4 again, and they fail to get Champions League football, in my opinion, the Eric Ten Hag pull is not there. Because I don't know how else you can convince someone to come play for the club, and the manager keeps losing out on top 4. Not making top 4, in my opinion, is enough to sack Ten Hag. You know what? I've been having this conversation with so many people about if Ten Hag would get sacked, and I don't like to put a timeline on it, but I've always said that I see Ten Hag losing his job when they realize that top 4 is really out of reach. That's how I see it happening. That is how I see it. I see Ten Hag losing his job when Manchester United are really out of top 4. And the thing is, right, Man United can get Champions League football in 2 ways, right? Top 4, or you're winning the Europa League. You know how bad it has to be that you mess up both situations. That is really bad. But equally, I will say that I agree with the sentiment that improvements is made in the league position, not necessarily winning trophies. It's all good winning Europa League, but I think you shouldn't aim to win Europa League with the kind of with the expectation that you're gonna have a hindrance on your league position. Like, you know, you're not. I wouldn't want Man United to be like, oh, we're gonna focus on winning the Europa League, so we can get Champions League football. So we're not gonna even focus on the Premier League. It doesn't matter where we finish. I don't like that idea. I don't really like that idea. I think it's equally as important to win Premier League games as it is to win the Europa League. Whether or not Man United are gonna win the flipping the league, that's not gonna happen. But we shouldn't be going up against top 6, top 7 teams, etc. and being, you know what, it's not the worst thing if we lose because we're still in Europa League and we can still get Champions League football. For me, that's not the right mindset. For me, that is not the right mindset. It's not just top 4. We need to see improvements as far as performances. That's what Ineos have said as well, that there needs to be a better game model. There needs to be better game model. There needs to be better performances. Man United need to win in more convincing fashion. I think that's important too. Top 4 plus Europa League is my prediction. Ideal progression for the season. My minimum is top 4. I think mine is the same. I said Europa League, win it. Top 4. I said United need to finish 3rd. 4th is nice, but 3rd would be better. And I said I think FA Cup, like a deep run. I said that would be it. But listen, guys, we got over 100 people. Let's try and push 26 more likes till we get to 100 likes. You know the rules, man. You come in, you wipe your feet, you say hi to everyone in the chat, you greet the minions, and then you hit the like button. If you want to join the minions gang, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course you get to support the growth of the channel, the ever-growing community here. If you want to support the channel in other ways, you can by sending in super chats with your comments, with your questions, with your thoughts, or just to show some love and appreciation. In the bio of this video, guys, is the link to my Twitch. Should I put it in the chat? It's the link to my Twitch. I am live every day, 7 p.m. UK time. I'll be live today, 7 p.m. UK time. So come through and watch me play 2K and chit chat with everyone. And in the link of this video, in the bio of this video, sorry, is a link to my second channel, which is my gaming channel. So if you're into gaming or you just want to support me, go over and subscribe to my gaming channel. If one of the mods can put the link to my Twitch in the chat, that would be greatly appreciated. I think we'll finish 5th, go out in quarters of UEL, semis of Carabao, and lose the FA Cup final. Damn. That is... You're saying we're just going to have loser written on our head everywhere we go this season. I think Man United... I don't know. The thing is, guys, I can't even sit here and say Man United can win a trophy because we are struggling. We are really struggling. And it's sad because when we talk about Southampton on the weekend, like, no disrespect, right? Because Ten Hag has only beaten Southampton. Well, he's only played Southampton once, right? But the one time we've played Southampton twice, we've beaten them once and we drew. But the one time that we did beat them, it was not in convincing fashion. It was 1-0. It was a 1-0 win, not in convincing fashion. And now we're going into Southampton again, who have just come back up from Championship. And we are doubting whether Manchester United are going to win or not. For me, that is how the mighty have fallen. For me, that's bad. That is not a positive sign at all, in my opinion, anyways. We're going to do a preview, obviously, we'll probably do it on Friday for the game on Saturday. But the next run of games are equally as important. I don't think the players are as bad as we're seeing. Let's talk about that, guys. Let's talk about the players and if they're as bad as what we're seeing right now. Let me bring up a picture on here. Do you guys agree with that? Because I don't think we have a bad squad. I honestly do not think that Manchester United have a bad squad. I think, and because the reason why I say this, right, is because we always talk about, oh, don't let the players win. Don't let the players win. It's the manager versus players. Don't let them win. Don't let them win. But I think Manchester United have a good team. I think they have a good team that should be doing a lot better. If you look across the different positions that Manchester United have, we have talent across the 20-something, 25-man squad. You know, you start with the back line. Onana, I got a question mark on him. You lot know my stance on Onana. I have a question mark on him. And I hope he redeems himself this season. I saw he went on international duty. I saw a video circulating of him like giving out gloves and that to people in the crowd. I got my question mark on Onana. I'm not gonna lie. But also, can I say I was never Onana. I never wanted Man United to get Onana. I can bring up tweets. I was talking about Diogo Costa before everyone was talking about Diogo Costa, but I'm not here to point score. Right back, Dallo, good player. I think Dallo is a good player. He looks like he's about to lip Garnacho in this picture. The back line, Delit, Licha, both are good. Mazraoui, I think he's good. I had this whole argument with Mo. Shout out to Judge Mo, because we were having a debate on his channel where he said that he doesn't think that Mazraoui is good, and I said I think Mazraoui is good. But it depends what you class as good. Like, what is your definition of good? You look at the midfield, Kobe, we're gonna run him into the ground if we continue like this. Ugarte, I haven't seen him play for United yet, so I can't kind of have a big opinion on him because I need to see him in a United system, not what he does for Uruguay. Casemiro, I have my reservations about him. Bruno, I think he's good. Ahmad, I think he's good. Garnacho, I think, like, Manchester United have a good team, but yet they look so bad in this system. And this is why we spoke about it yesterday as well. This is why I say that it's not the players. It is evidently the system. I saw a kind of analogy the other day that kind of sums this up in a nutshell, right? If you are cooking food, say you're making lasagna, right? And you are buying new ingredients. You're buying new ingredients, you're buying cheese, you're buying lasagna sheets, you're buying the onions to chop up, all of that stuff, yeah? But yeah, every time you make the lasagna, it tastes like crap. It tastes horrible. So you think, okay, it's the ingredients that are the problem, right? So you go to the shop, you buy different ingredients. Maybe you go to Marks and Spencer's this time. Maybe you go to like a more bougie shop. You go to Waitrose, or, you know, before you were buying it from like Aldi. So now you think, actually, let me go Tesco or Asda. So you go Tesco or Asda. You do that. You buy the same ingredients. You make lasagna. It's still crap. So this time you got to step up and you go to the expensive supermarkets. You know, the supermarkets where it's literally like, it's like £10 to buy a bottle of water. You go there and you buy the same ingredients. And you buy the better version. Organic, everything fresh off the farms. And yet your lasagna still tastes like ass. It's your recipe that's the problem. It's the recipe and the way that you're cooking. It's not the ingredients. And that same analogy, you can literally take it and put it in here. Man United do not have a bad team to be performing as bad as they are right now. That's my opinion. Manchester United should not be performing how they have been performing the last 3 games. I mean, under Eric Ten Hag, correct me if I'm wrong, what has Manchester United's been their record been for the first 3 games of the season? This year we've lost 2 and won 1. Last year, I remember we beat Wolves. We lost to Spurs. I can't remember what the 3rd game was. And the year before that, in Eric Ten Hag's debut year, we lost 2 and won 1. Maybe it's like athletics, right? It's like a sprint. We get out of the blocks quite late compared to everybody else. But I wouldn't be complaining if we would see improvements across the race, across the journey, right? But you're now telling me we're doing, say, 100-meter hurdle. We come out slow out of the blocks. And then every time we jump over the hurdle, we're kicking the hurdle. At one point we drop and we get back up and we keep running. And everyone's finished the race, but we're still chasing it. It's very concerning. And that's why I said the next run of games that United have, Southampton away, Barnsley at home. We've got Spurs at home. And then in October, Manchester United have 4 games away from home out of 6. Including Porto away, Fenerbahce away, I think it's Villa away, and I can't remember the 4th team. I can't remember. Maybe it's Brentford. I can't remember. 4 teams away out of 6. Manchester United should, if we go off of paper, right, they should be comfortable enough to go away to these games and get a result. But our away form is so bad. It is so bad. I don't know if you lot remember last year, but October is when the hurdle started to kind of collapse for Manchester United. Galatasaray game. Shortly before that, obviously, the Bayern Munich, etc., etc. That is when Manchester United's season started to take the turn for the worst. And I remember saying, I can't wait for this. I was in October saying, I can't wait for the season to end. I hope that's not the case this year. I really, really hope that's not the case this year. Ten Hag's system isn't working, but you can clearly see players make stupid decisions during the match. 100%. 100% I agree with this. I agree with this. We see players making dumb-ass decisions throughout the game. And that's why the manager also comes out and says players like they need to stop making errors, etc., etc. But my issue is that it's not just the mistakes that are the problem. Why are the mistakes happening? We need to understand the root cause of it. Is it because the player is actually brain dead and they have no football kind of knowledge? How did they become a professional footballer then? How did Manchester United buy them and give them good wages if they have literally no football IQ? It's not solely just the errors, but I think the best way to kind of understand it is, what are the mistakes that are happening and why are they happening? Are they reoccurring mistakes? Because if they're reoccurring mistakes, then I think a reoccurring mistake is a flaw in the player's attributes. The player's not able to do what is being asked. But if it's an occasional error or it's different players making the same type of error, then it's a flaw in the system. And I think that's the most important part to kind of differentiate between that. I genuinely think our squad is not as bad as Ten Hag made us look. This is on Ten Hag, and no one can convince me. Otherwise, Jack says Man United got a heck of a team. I agree. I think we've got a decent team. Formation, tactics, approaches, and substitutions seems to be the main issues. All of these are on the manager, not the players. Many of us will be fuming if we are to lose many of our players to City. I think that statement is too simplistic. Erik Ten Hag exposes the worst qualities of the players rather than the best qualities, which leads to more mistakes. I don't think he's changing the mindset. More instructions he's dishing out than believing. They're not fearless enough. I'm telling you, the system fills no one with confidence. It's so bad. Yeah, I'm not convinced with the system that United have right now. Like for me, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced of it, which it does worry me. And listen, this season I'm on fully. What's it called? What is it people call copium? Is that what people say? Copium. Yeah, I'm on copium, right? I am hoping that Ten Hag turns it around. I am hoping and praying that Manchester United have a good season. But guys, there's a part of me that is, I'm shook. I'm so worried. Mina has joined Flex on the fence. I'm not on the fence. You don't know my stance. I've said my stance on Ten Hag many times, guys. I don't think he's going to turn it around. I hope he does. But I have my criticisms of him. I think that there's more negatives than positives of him as the manager. And I just hope that he turns it around. Simple as that. I ain't on no fence. I'm not on no fence. But that's the thing. I'm on copium this season, and you lot might have to join me. We might have to just come here every day after a game, just talk about life, have a little therapy session, talk about what's bothering you outside of football. Because if Manchester United do not start getting results soon, it's going to be horrible. Like a 2-week international break off the back of a Liverpool loss has been unbearable, right? When Man United are playing 3 games a week, we're not even going to have time to let everything digest, guys. Because if we lose a game on the weekend, we've got a couple of days before we have to get over it, and bam, it's Europa League time. Just quickly, though, I want to share this with you, look. Marcus Rashford posted this video, right? I have my thoughts about this. Obviously, this is his training. He's out there working like a monster, getting fit, getting ready. In the gym. His brother's there with him. His brother's not even there working out. I don't know why his brother's there. But again, each to their own. There's his brother walking behind him. Right? This is the part that just... Oh, this is the part that kind of made me laugh. Let me mute it before I get done for copyright. What in Ten Hag's system requires you to get punched in the stomach? This is the first thing that I thought, yeah? When I saw this, I thought, okay, cool. All right. For me, it's in my opinion, guys, this is harmless. This is just another workout video that he's posted on his socials with his PR team. and it's nothing, right? But what in Eric Ten Hag's system requires you to get punched in the stomach? Eric Ten Hag is clearly not even asking you to take on a man, so there's no even like the physical aspect of your game is the bare minimum. Because I saw this video, I said you're taking punches to the stomach, you're taking that big dumbbell thing, getting hit in your stomach like this. What in Ten Hag's system requires you to do that? Please, I would rather you go and pass to a wall non-stop so that you can practice your short passes that you keep doing. I'd rather you do that because that is clearly more contributing to the system that the manager's using. But for me, he needs he's preparing for Ruud's gut punches at half time. That's how I trained after watching the Karate Kid. Wax on, wax on. It's not harmless. He's released that for a specific reason to show everyone, look, guys, I train so hard, I don't deserve criticism. What a PR merchant he's become. Talking about PR. Let's talk about PR quickly because I don't know if you lot remember, earlier this year, he joined, I think he signed, Marcus Rashford signed with Rock Nation, who specialize in improving PR. They specialize in the PR aspect of your game and enhancing your media image. And since then, he's obviously come out and done that interview with the Players Tribune, which I actually like that interview, but some of the things he hasn't backed up yet. So I can't really say that he's done what he said he'd do. And then obviously now he's during the summer and now he's posting a lot more of this kind of stuff. I think that kind of stuff is harmless. I don't mind seeing, like, I have friends who are footballers. Excuse me. I have friends who are footballers, and in particular during the off season, they do post stuff like this. Like they train with a trainer that's like specializes in football, etc. They have a cameraman, etc. They do all of that stuff, right? But with the way that Manchester United is set up now, especially online, Man United fans, we are chronically online, right? There's not an app that Manchester United fans are not on. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, Discord, whatever the app is, they are on there talking about football. I just don't think, like, the last time you did something PR kind of related, you haven't really backed it up yet. So I didn't get that video. How many of your friends that post that stuff, how many of them have progressed? All of them, to be honest. All of them. But to be honest, they only post that stuff during the off season. They don't post that stuff during the season because shout out to them, they get international call-ups during they get international call-ups to their national teams. So they don't need to train for 2 weeks because there's no football. They're playing football. It is harmless. Any narrative of I don't deserve criticism is your own insertion. He's a professional footballer posting his training regime as any other footballer would. Yeah, I agree. I think United fans just take everything and just run with it, like whatever it is. Do any of our players in the off-season train with some of our legends and pick their brains? That's a good thing. I remember, not our legends, but do you guys remember Harry Maguire? Let's see if we can find it. Harry Maguire was training with Carvalho a couple seasons ago. I remember he was training. Yeah, okay, there you go. When Eric Ten Hag kicked him to the curb, he went and trained. He went to a Portuguese training camp with Ricardo Carvalho. You see? Right here. Declan Rice was training with Fernandes. Yeah, he was. I have never seen Man United players per se training with Man United legends, but I can imagine that they probably do have a relationship with these players. Like with former Manchester United managers, 100%. For example, Angel Gomez spoke about, I didn't know this. Angel Gomez, he's a former Man United player. He spoke about, did you know Nani was his what's it called? His godfather. So Nani was his godfather, and he posted just after in the interview press conference with England, he was asked how his godfather reacted to it, and he said, oh, Nani was, very appreciative, blah, blah. And he spoke about how him and Nani have always had a good relationship, especially obviously they were at the club at the same time, but also since he's moved to the French league, they keep in contact. And he regularly speaks to him, etc. You lot know Nani is one of my favorite Manchester United players of all time. Someone said here, did Salah do it? Did KDB, the Salah post stuff, KDB? Well, they don't have PR teams. Like, I feel like Mohamed Salah, if we go onto Mohamed Salah's socials, yeah, his socials is that of a typical kind of Arab football player. Like, it's the bare minimum. Like, there's let me go on his Instagram and just have a look. He just posts basic stuff, him with his friends, match day stuff, national team stuff. That's it. Literally, like, he doesn't really holiday, his kids. Like, he ain't got a PR team. He does not have a PR team. And I feel like football, depending on the kind of footballer you are, you might have to have a PR team. You might have to have a PR team. I just realized that Nani's repping Evra's training kit. I just realized it. And what? And he's wearing Ronaldo, and he's wearing Rooney's. Ronaldo is wearing Rooney's, and he's wearing Nani, and he's wearing Evra's. That's so random. That is so random. Nani being your godfather has to be one of the strongest starting gifts in life. Which one's stronger? That, I don't believe in godfathers, but obviously it's each their own. It's either that or Lamine Yamal and Messi. You're gonna have a good footballing career either way. Either way, Nani, you lot know, is one of my favorite Manchester United players of all time. I am if I ever got the chance to meet Nani, I would faint, because I'm such a big fan of him. But yeah, that's it, man. That's all we got for today. Listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. Yeah, I read about this. Players used to wear any kit they came upon first in training. I didn't know that. I just always thought people had allocated thing. Big up, Mina, watching from Canada. Big up. Shout out to everyone from Canada, man. Shout out to everyone from Toronto, Ottawa. Where else? I'm trying to name places in Edmonton. That's all I can do. Mississauga, but that's part of Toronto. Yeah, that's all I can do. I'm gonna make Yamal bless my child. Quebec, there you go, Quebec. There's another place that speaks French. I forgot what it's called. That ever interview on the Overlap was very telling of players like Pogba and co and their attitude towards football. And that was interesting what he said about Pogba, if you lot remember, because I think he said that Man United only brought Pogba to spite Sir Alex Ferguson, which is that is a blasphemous statement to make, even if it's true. But I like Patrice Evra whenever he does interviews, and not only when he does interviews, but even when he does analysis on Sky. I mean, they haven't brought him back for a long time. But I like Patrice Evra because he's got no filter. Like, he will say what is on his mind and what he genuinely thinks. He doesn't have PR training. He really doesn't have PR training. The problem with Rashford, the PR is excessive and he comes across as fake and cringe. I guess it's down to how everybody kind of receives it. Really, I think it's down to that. How long before Chelsea are forced to give players 3-digit numbers? I'm sure it'll be soon. I'm sure Chelsea have their own little civil war going on right now. If you lot, I don't know if you lot have been keeping up with it, but Chelsea have their own little civil war going on right now, and I wonder if Todd Bowley is still going to survive being part of the ownership there. But listen, guys, you know what it is, man. Be sure to hit the like button, guys, and be sure to subscribe. We thank God, because football is slowly coming back. Saturday, football will be back. So, of course, we'll have Daily Dose of Mina tomorrow. I actually might do a call-in show tomorrow to get everybody's thoughts on everything. Friday, we'll have the preview. Saturday, we will have Mina's State of Mind after the game. And I've just dropped in the chat, the link to that app, because someone said to me that I shouldn't say it on YouTube. So I've dropped the link. I will be live in about an hour streaming on their gaming content. So I would appreciate it if you are on the app, or you don't have the app, or you have the app but you don't really use it, or you got your iPad set up, your laptop, whatever, and you're just doing nothing today. Go over and follow me there. And I'll be live in about an hour playing NBA 2K. We're playing NBA 2K. Might play some Park or some Rec, or I might just continue with my career mode. And we're gonna have a vibe. We are gonna have a vibe. So make sure you guys just do something simple. Just click the link, and then there's a little button that says follow, and then follow. And if you want to subscribe to my gaming channel, I have to keep pushing it and promoting it. In the bio of this video, you will find the link there as well. But big up to everyone. I hope you have a wonderful evening, whatever you get up to. I hope to catch us, some of you guys, on the Twitch stream. And if not, I'll see you lot tomorrow for the next Daily Dose of Mina, guys. I am out. Peace.